This is Makola Spokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. I want to today speak about how to formulate a conference theme. Now, as ministers and pastors and men of God who are called in the calling of God, and I know you're organizing conferences many times, but I want to speak a little bit about how to formulate a conference theme, because many of us don't even believe in themes, because we think that the themes are limiting God, they are limiting the Holy Spirit from operating. But I want to emphasize that it is very important to have a theme of a conference. And the reason why you need to have a theme of a conference is because it gives guidelines to people that are attending that conference. They know exactly what you're going to talk about. So what it does as well, it markets the conference itself. It makes people to attend knowing that they are attending for a certain topic. Because if there's no theme, people attend conferences actually blindly, not knowing what is going to be, what ministers are going to speak about. And it's always very important when they know what they are going to speak about, then they will attend intentionally, knowing that this is the type of topic that is very important for them, that they need to learn. So therefore, as a minister, as a leader, or a visionary of a church, it is very important, therefore, to be able to have the craft of how to formulate a theme, because it's very important that you know that themes are just not picked out of the brain and just label it as just a label of a conference. They must be well thought of. They must be well calculated. You must be led by the Spirit of God as well. So it's very important aspects of formulating themes that we want to speak about today, and that will help you, I hope. And please hang on with us, tighten your seatbelt, and be with us as we deal with this topic. The first thing is you need to first determine the target group that you intend to address. So in other words, you must know the people that you intend to address. Are they congregants? Are they people that are born again? Are they people that are matured at a certain level? Are people that don't know the Lord as a personal Savior? Or do they know the Lord? So all that. So you must profile the people that you're targeting, which is what we call a target group. Because the theme should be pitched at the level that of the people, must be pitched at the level of the people that are the audience of this particular conference. So therefore, it is very important to say, I know I'm going to run a conference in a certain place. So therefore, I must actually put up the theme. It must relate or resonate with the people that are the target group that we're going to address. If it's people that are at a certain level of knowledge of the word, so therefore you're going to pitch your theme based on that as well, so that people can learn out of the conference that you're running. So running a conference without well thinking about it and planning about the theme of the conference and planning the conference thoroughly, it actually becomes a waste of money and the time of the people as well. Because people come and gather every day with an aim of learning something, but they walk out of it without learning anything, and purely because the theme was either not well structured or you don't have a theme at all, and people are blindly coming and they just don't get that which they came for. And that's very key that we emphasize that. So therefore, identify and determine the type of audience that you're dealing with before you even think of how do I then craft the theme based on the audience. Secondly, determine the issues you want to address amongst the people. Now, if it is your congregation, it's your people, it's the people that you are leading in the church, you're going to need to therefore identify what do you want to address. What is that you wanna address? What is that you wanna come out having achieved? Because that's what we call therefore the objective of the conference. Because then for you to formulate a theme, it must be emanating from the fact that you've got objectives, you've got plans for this conference, and you know what you want to address, what you want to deal with, and therefore you plan it based on that. And this is very key, because if you are not able to plan your conference well, in a way that you know exactly what you want to address, therefore you're going to have a problem in this regard, whereby you're not going to address the right issues, and you're going to deal with things that are not concerning the people. And that makes your conference irrelevant, actually, because conferences that are addressing issues that are not related to the people are therefore irrelevant. And that must be accepted as a fact. And when we accept that as a fact, therefore, we will plan better, we'll do things much more better, because we know that we will be able to address issues well enough because we're addressing the issues of the people. So therefore, know exactly what you want to address, know exactly what you want to come up having achieved. So therefore, the objective of the conference becomes very primary at this level. So that's very, very important. Before you even put up a theme, know the objectives of your conference. The other thing is you must have your desired objectives. You must have your results in mind, what you want to achieve, what you want to deliver, what you want people to get out of the conference. And that's very key, because if you don't have that, you're basically going to have a problem in putting up a theme. So therefore, I'm emphasizing it again. So please know the objectives, know what you want to address, know what you want to deliver, know what you want to come out of, and what are the results, the end results of this conference. That must be in mind. Therefore, you must have the results in mind. And that's very key. Now, I'm going to also mention the fact that you need to break down the abstract and put the topic in a practical terms, because I've seen conferences that are bombastic. I've seen conference themes that are difficult to even understand what is going to be addressed. The abstract is very difficult. It's actually put in a very serious terminology that makes people to need to go to dictionary to go actually to check what this means. And a conference theme should be as simple as possible. It must be simplified. It must be actually broken down as an abstract and be made to be as easy as possible. So in other words, bring it home. In other words, make sure that the audience that are going to sit and listen to, they understand the theme much more clearer, and they can be able actually to participate in the conference knowing that the theme is something that they understand clearly. And this is very key. And we cannot actually ignore the fact that you can't make a conference bombastic. You can't make the conference theme difficult to understand, because if the conference theme is difficult to understand, you must surely embrace yourself to a conference that will be very bombastic to people, that people may not even understand. And the audience that will come, they will gain nothing out of it if they don't even understand the concept of your theme itself. Because it is through the concept of the theme, is through the theme that we understand exactly how to fine-tune our ears to listen to these speakers, knowing what they're speaking about from the beginning. And that's what we came for in any case. And that's very key that we emphasize that as well. I must also mention that you must avoid using bombastic English terms that may confuse the audience, because when it's a very serious terms that will confuse the audience, as I said, it is going to be difficult for them to really even submit under this conference and learn anything. They're going to sit and not understand anything. They're going not to even follow the speakers and know exactly what's being spoken about, because they've been confused by the theme itself, because the English that was put there in that theme construction was very difficult, and therefore people may not even know what you're speaking about. And so this is very important that we emphasize that. Avoid bombastic words for the audience. Also avoid theological Greek and Hebrew terms that may confuse both speakers and audiences. In this regard, you'll realize that when you've put up a conference theme that is actually Hebrew and Greek and confusion of language, that people need now to go back and say, what does it mean then in English? It's going to be very difficult for them to deliver to the core. And that is why we have seen conferences where the speakers are confused themselves. And they are very confused because the theme is difficult. The topic of the theme of the conference is actually something that they don't understand. So in other words, you cannot prepare something sound if your theme is not sound enough. You cannot prepare something that is clear if your theme is confusing. So therefore, it is very important that you put it in simple terms that your audience are going to understand. And I want to emphasize it, that if you're going to have ministers that are minister in a certain language, so give them the theme in that language so that they can understand actually what they are preparing about. They know exactly what they're going to speak about. So therefore, because of that, they will deliver to the core. and they will be able actually to deliver to what you expect or your expectation in that particular conference, because it's not really necessary to confuse people with terms and Greek words and Hebrew words as a theme of a conference, because at the end of the day, as I said, you're confusing yourselves as well. You're confusing the ministers that are coming to minister. You're confusing your own people that are going to sit and listen to these ministers, because if the confusion is in the beginning, you're not going to be able to get it right. So I want to emphasize that, and I want to mention that please make it as simple as possible, because that will be actually helping the people. Take a listener's position when you're formulating a theme. So in other words, if you formulate a theme, you must be taking the listener's positions. What do we mean? We mean that you must actually imagine yourself as somebody sitting down and being part of the conference in the sense of listening. You are part of the audience in this regard, and ask yourself, am I going to understand enough here? Am I going to not to get confused here? So if what you are going to listen to and not going to get confused is actually maybe palatable and good for the listeners or audience that are coming, but therefore make sure that you are actually preparing yourself or preparing the theme of the conference while you're taking what we call a listener's view or a listener position. So whereby you imagine yourself sitting and listening to the messages and ask yourself, am I learning something out of here? That's very, very key, that we cannot avoid mentioning that. The other thing that is very important is let the theme address real life issues. And I must be honest here, because there are some times whereby conference themes are so difficult. And as I said earlier, the abstract is very deep and difficult. They are not addressing the real daily issues of people. They are not addressing people's lives. So if the conference itself is not addressing people's lives, it's going to be difficult for people to grasp anything, to take home anything, to be able to learn anything, because people only learn when something is hitting home, when something is related to their own lives. And this is very important, and I want to emphasize that please make sure at all times that you hit it home, that make sure that at all times you bring it next to home, whereby everybody will be understanding exactly what you're speaking about, because the theme is addressing their daily issues. And when it does so, it makes them to be interested in listening as well and learn out of it and be able to apply the word that has been said in the conference. And that's very, very key that we look at that. The other thing that I thought is very important just to emphasize is we need maybe to look at make it catchy, to invite interest from those who are going to read it, those who are invited. So in other words, let the theme be like sort of interesting. Let it not be just boring and straightforward and in a way that people are just not attracted to come and listen. Make it a little bit catchy, make it a little bit more interesting, make it a little bit more appealing for people to say, wow, I want to go and listen to that, I want to go and hear that. So as you do so, you'll realize that you will actually be doing a great deal to the people and assisting them to be able to come as well and learn from this conference. I want to end up here today, your host, Mekonas Bogani. I would love to urge you to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. So please also click that notification button. Befriend us on Church Governance Solutions Facebook page, and make sure that you learn out of this, and make sure that you are actually listening to this more carefully and learn out of it. We will be taking up other topics going forward, and I hope you will join us, and I hope you listen to our videos as we going forward on YouTube as well, and you will be able to learn and maybe teach the people around you as well what we are teaching in this platform. May the good Lord bless you, and allow me right now to say cheers for now.